guys, so we are on board the USS Alabama. This is the Detachment's Berthing. I'm going to take you in there. This is my home away from home. All right, red and white still, just like the old days. They haven't changed anything up yet. There's some dioramas. They have a lot of weapons on display that are actually functional and real. They got off of the ship. Most of these weapons came from the ship themselves, like they didn't have to source them someplace. These are stuff that they found on board the Alabama. Okay. This is the commanding officers of the Marine Detachment. This is the first one, Major Harold S. Rossi, Navy Star with a Navy Cross with a star. So it's a two-time awardee, Silver Star, Purple Heart, Bronze Star with Valor, and a clasp, and some World War II victory medals and whatnot. This is the first sergeant's office. And Gunner Sergeant Riddle. First Sergeant Haynes, Gunner Sergeant Riddle. They're the senior non-commissioned officers on board. They do a lot of the admin stuff, and they're responsible for a lot of things. The Marines guarded the captain, they guarded the brig, they ran a lot of the 20 millimeters on board, and the Iowas, they actually manned a 5-inch gun. And other ships, they did that too, but if I'm not mistaken, on the Alabama, they just did 20 millimeters. Okay, this locker here. This locker, when it was opened up several years ago, they found this writing, secure records of machine and finished police sergeant, and this record and speaker and the record player. They found this on the ship just like this. They didn't have to paint that. They didn't dig this up from an antique shop. This is actually from the Marine Detachment, and they found it here. So this belongs to the ship, belongs to the Marines. Here it laid. Never even knew it till a few years back. Here's some mortars. Which one's which? 81 and 60? Yeah. The junior NCO berth and corporals and sergeants would stay here. Okay, let's walk back around. You can see another open hatch, but it's been grated off, and who knows where that leads to, besides down. Senior NCO berthing, these are rifle racks, the tops of the rifle racks. Like I said, all this stuff is period correct because it belonged to the ship. They actually did a nav survey, and they used the catalog, and they cataloged every compartment and what it belonged in what spot on the ship in like 1944, 1945. So they have all of where everything goes. They know where to put it if they find the pieces. So here is the Marine Tailor Shop, and I'm going to show you something there real quick. These are the rifle racks where they store the M1 Garands or M1 carbines. Pretty cool. This sewing machine, it belongs to the ship. They found it below decks. They looked through the manual, found it belonged to the Marine berthing, and they re-put it up here. The crew of the Alabama did, the volunteer staff and staff. That's really cool. That's really neat. That is period correct, that it belongs to the ship. All found on board. The rifle racks, the Marine pressing shop, very familiar with pressing uniforms. More rifle racks. The Marine stores, so heavy equipment like, clothing stores, like these heavy coats for wintertime or whatnot, stored here. Got some aircraft recognition panels. Again, this is the overnight grouping for Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts. All right, so this is really, really neat here. Now these are lighting transformers. Now these are old. General Electric. I'm sure they don't run. Oh, they sound like they're humming, and they're hot to the touch. Yeah, they're still running. They're still working. Hot to the touch. It's crazy. The Marine storeroom, canteens, helmets, K-rations, gear, whatever they need. All right, now this is the tank gauge. So they gauge how much water and fuel is in the ship. They have to go around and drop a pole in there and check it. Pretty neat. The Marine Corps flag. Now, I don't know if this is the ship's Marine flag, but probably is. More bunks. Typical Marine wall locker setup. That's really interesting. Let's see. All right. Another open hatch that leads to the abyss. Marine Blues uniform locker. They've got some stuff they're taking from Tokyo Bay in here, from Tokyo. From Japan in general. Really cool. Okay, guys, that's the Mardet Marine Detachment berthing on board USS Alabama.